Okay, well, let Sunny light her cigarette. I want to go back more to the early days in the 50s. What was your first impression of the bars?
It was like another world. You walked into a twilight world.
It was a world of wonders, and it was a world of pain. It was a world of criminality. It was a world of secrets, but it was also a world of courage.
I was at this bar, this guy comes up to me, he goes, "Hey, would you like to sleep with me? 'Cause I'm a lesbian trapped in a man's body." What a line!
Can to make
The bars were the best of times and the worst of times. They were the place that we came alive with friendship, we came alive erotically, we were dressed to the nines, we felt good, we felt loved by our partners or potentially loved by that woman winking and blinking from across the room.
It gave us a sense of identity and of who we were and that it was okay. Because in that bar, we were the majority.
In New York City, we still have Cubby Hole, we have Henrietta Hudson, and there's the Bush, and then there's Ginger's and Park Slope.
My name is Ruth Borey. I lived here all my life, but as I was growing up, I realized that I like women. But I had to hide this inside me because back in those days, if you were honest, they would put you down. People that were my friends, when I finally was honest with them and told them that I like girls, they started acting funny towards me. By the time I reached 16, they all asked me where was my boyfriend, and I said, I don't have a boyfriend. I like girls. And they all looked at me, and I lost the friends that I thought I had since we grew up. So I went on by myself out here looking for these people that are like me. I didn't know what to do until someone told me, why don't you come to this place here? We're giving a party. And when I went to a party, it was a house party. Then I noticed that I see all women dancing with one another, and I said, wow, this feels like me. I had nowhere else to go because I had to take care of my mother. And the girls that would come and get a haircut, I have a barbershop, they would say, Ruthie, go to Ginger's. And I said, I can't, I gotta take care of my mother. I didn't know where Ginger's were right then. So I took care of my mother, and then when she passed away, I didn't know what to do. I was alone in the house, nobody saying nothing to me. And my other side of the family, my brother and my sister, they wouldn't call me or anything like that, I felt like I was just alone. So I sold the house, and I thought about it. It came up in my mind because I felt alone. I said, let me go to Ginger's. Let me see what this is all about. So I went on a Sunday, sat in the front, and I looked at everybody, and I introduced myself to the bartender. This is my first time here. And then I observed everybody. This is what I do. I'm basically quiet. And everybody knows me. It was 27 years now. And I'm quiet and I observe everybody. And I show love to the ones that are suffering if they feel like they want to talk to me. But if they want to talk with me, then I just listen. And then if I feel like I can encourage them, I don't tell them what to do. I'll just encourage them and say, come on, get yourself out of that. It is what it is. It moves forward. Get happy with yourself.
My name
name is Rachel. I am 45 years old, and I'm a very late bloomer. I came out basically within the last year when I was 44. Having a space like Gingers and queer spaces in general have actually been integral in that coming out process for me. I had one specific experience where I had kind of met some of the regulars, and especially around the pool table, but I had this moment where Ruthie, the kind of elder matriarch of Gingers, of the queer community, she saw me standing by myself off to the side, and she took me over to, there was a table of some regulars, introduced me to everybody, and kind of like sat me down with them. And I felt like I had sort of, gotten the blessing, from the queen or whatever, and felt at that point like I was accepted, that I was in.
She doesn't want this book. Here's the thing. I'm drunk. I'm 32. I don't give a fuck. Here's the tea. Of course lesbians are going to owning bars or businesses because lesbians are gay women and what they care about is community, and that is at odds with capitalism. I'm not brilliant for coming up with that.
In the late 1980s, there were around 200 lesbian bars in the United States. Today, just 21.
The number of bars for lesbians has dwindled to less than 25.
Across the country, we're seeing safe spaces close at an alarming rate.
Data shows that there is a bar decline nationwide and here locally. Experts say that could mean fewer spaces for some in the community.
The people who own these spaces say the challenges to stay open range from financial hurdles to discrimination.
There are so many factors. Gay life changed. We are super visible now in a way that we were not in the 80s and the 70s and the 60s.
There's clearly a specific thing going on in regards to lesbian bars, but New York is such a hard place to hold a business. And when identifying as a lesbian was such like a taboo thing, people would like whisper that they're lesbians. It makes it harder for places like this to exist because it becomes like a identity that people are too scared to like identify with.
In the 70s, in the mid 70s and late 70s, being a lesbian was such a sort of dangerous thing still.
They're scared, and they have good reasons to be scared. There's a lot of issues out there, there's danger, but there's also the fact that on some level it's become safe for them to not be out in the streets. It's been safe for them to stay in the bars.
Where else would you go in 1956 to meet other lesbians? You had to have these bars. It was just a desperate connection for us.
Lesbian bars went on to serve, queer women beyond nightlife in so many ways. They weren't just places where you met like someone to hook up with. They were places where you met and built community. Like it's a safe space to gather and be ourselves. So it's places where our activism starts. Like ACT UP meetings happened in bars back in the 80s.
An upstart activist group started making noise.
I'm Dee DeBerry from Tampa, Florida with Tampa Bay ACT UP. I'm a lesbian with HIV. I'm a pissed off dyke, and I want my rights back.
In the 60s and 70s is when you start to see queer women get to own a space and start a space for themselves. I think that doesn't even emerge that much until the 80s.
I think women are struggling. You see all these gay men's places. Every place you go to, it's a gay men's bar. On a weekend, it's so packed you can't get in. You don't have the same thing.
Women, minorities, trans folk, we make far less money than cis men. So gay men can afford to go out and have bottle service and, pay big covers, and we can't always.
You have a lesbian bar, it's like you're just inviting mostly a certain personnel to go to your bar. It's like there's going to be less people in general giving money to your business.
That's why I feel like they're really shutting down, because nobody knows. And it's like, we here, girl, we here.
Maybe that's also a challenge with lesbian bars, is if you advertise yourself as a lesbian bar, who are you excluding?
Gen Z is more open-minded, it's much more accepting. Gender boxes, sexuality isn't quite so like, you must check the lesbian box and you must check the bi box. And I think you get to be a little bit more fluid in there. And I think if bars want to exist, they're going to have to meet people in that world and bring in more folks. And I think there's sometimes in the queer community, we have this feeling of we're so precious and we want everything to be like, the world is so shitty that we take the things that we love and we're very critical of them and we want them to be perfect. And no one space can be perfect for everybody. It's not possible and it's always going to have some issues. And I'm not saying that gives white lesbians an excuse to be racist. It does not.
The thing that's special about the Bush is that it's for Black and like people of color, lesbians specifically, and it's like a real community builder in that way versus a lot of lesbian bars. As much as I'm sure they try, it is a thing of like, that is not a space for lesbians that are not white. And you get made to feel like a spectacle or you get made to feel unwelcome sometimes.
But I think even in the most welcoming of spaces held and put on by queer white women, it's probably not the best place that queer Black women are going to choose to go if they have another option, because they probably want to be in a place that they feel seen.
Every single weekday, weekend, I'm here. I'm here.
All right, ask me. So my experience at the Bush, it was a lot of bitches in there, y'all.
So what's the question? Yeah. Okay, I keep coming back because it's cool. Everybody's gay. Everybody's lesbian. Love it.
I don't find myself mingling with men as much as I do with women. So I kind of just go, I follow the women. I go where they go. If they go to a straight bar.
Isn't it fabulous? It's very sweet, very fun.
I don't know why y'all say it's like the main place for us to be, because I'm not seeing a lot of us, if you know what I mean. No shade. Like,
We like to see some of this. Yeah, we like to see some of this.
but I'm seeing that there's a little bit of like an effort to push us out. Yeah, that is why we keep coming back here, because there is a lot of us.
Walk up in there with your best fit on, and I promise you, somebody's gonna talk to you. Somebody's gonna buy you a drink.
Gay, that pussy's
Like,
gonna get wet.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I ain't
and then
gonna lie to you.
there's beautiful women
It's a lot
everywhere,
of-
even
yo.
the bartenders.
Gorgeous.
Shout
Yo,
out to
the
the
bartender
bartenders.
look like
They
Lady
balance
Gaga.
My name's Justina. I work at the Bush. It's my main job. I work a few jobs, but it's my favorite. It's a safe space for women. I'll say everybody for politics, but it's a safe space for women. All kinds of women, gay, straight, mass, trans, any kind of women that you'd like to be. And everyone's welcome. Really good music, good vibes. We have a really great staff that makes everybody feel good about themselves. Like, everyone dresses well, everyone smells good. We're just like, it's a good vibe spot. Like, I come here even if I was straight, to be honest with you. Like,
Start letting in more men than women. Is it still a lesbian bar? Like,
clock that T.
It really is special to go in somewhere and be the dominant, person in that space, to be the dominant group in that space.
Because you don't want to leave people out. You know, as a business, you want to get everyone in the door and paying for your drinks. So you have places like, Henrietta Hudson, I think, now brands themselves as a queer bar built by dykes.
Henrietta's is technically a lesbian bar, but it don't give what the Bush gives. Like, why are we listening to Hannah Montana in the club? Not too much. Can we?
I think what lesbian bars means has changed, and that has evolved with our understanding of queerness as a community. Our kind of slogan now is, we're a queer human bar built by dykes. Kind of changing our language to be more gender inclusive has been really important, but personally, I still find it very important to call it a lesbian bar, even though We are so inclusive of bisexuals, pansexuals, trans people. All of those people fit in a lesbian community in my heart. Also, it pays homage to radical lesbians of our past who are the reason why we're able to celebrate the diversity we are celebrating today. From the civil rights movement to the radical feminists, the lesbians at the forefront of the AIDS crisis, but there was a big decline, and we have to keep fighting to keep lesbian bars open. Everything I can think of that's positive about this space was lost when lesbian spaces disappeared. The feeling of home, just arriving in a place where you're surrounded by people who you don't have to explain yourself to. My friend's 21st birthday, we took a trip to New York City from Boston, and so we just started walking towards Henrietta's that we had heard about. That was more of a lesbian space. And when we got here, the door person just said, "Come on in." It was pretty quiet. People kind of just talking in corners and groups and couples. But there was the disco ball in the middle of the room, and our jaws just like dropped. And then we saw on the menu, the drinks were called gender fluids, and we were like, oh my God. We like went into the center of the dance floor and just started dancing, and there was a DJ, and she just played everything we wanted to hear. It was truly one of the best nights of my life. I think especially for young people who just turned 21 and people who are like early in their queer journeys, this is a really sacred space. There's so much history here. So for people who have been here for decades and who have seen hens change over time, they get to keep coming back, and they get to keep being known here. It's such a privilege to meet queer people in other generations, to tell stories about hens from when I was not here. And I am so honored to be part of that story now.